All right, I am Anne Arundel County Executive Stuart Pittman, and I'm here at the Odenton Mark Station, the most popular, the most used train station in Anne Arundel County. And I am here with our congressional delegation, who I will introduce in a moment, and some of our local electeds who I will introduce as well. But the purpose of what we're doing is to announce $16,771,500 in federal earmarks to Anne Arundel County through a number of projects. But one of those projects is right here at the Odenton Mark Station. And I have to say that it has been many decades since they talked about creating parking at the Odenton Mark Station so that more people would use it, structured parking so that we could remove surface parking and really do the transit-oriented development that we see as the way for this county to grow. So we want more people riding the train. We want them to be able to park right next to the station, and then we want to open up some of the land for other kinds of development around here to have even more people riding the train. So that's the $4 million earmark that we're going to be talking about. There's the Emergency Operations Center, the Joint 911 and Emergency Operations Center that Anne Arundel County will be doing, that is a $2.5 million earmark from these good folks that are standing behind me. There is the START program, which is a youth diversion program through our police department that we are getting $400,000. And here's Congressman Steny Hoyer, who's coming up just in time. He will be joining us. $1.5 million for trail spurs and connections to our network of bike and pedestrian trails around the county. The Ralph Bunch Community Center Restoration, which particularly is a project that since Congressman Hoyer took over the part of the county all the way up to the South River, this is an African-American school formerly that is really in need of some rehabilitation and will become a community center. So we're very excited about that. The Parole Transit Center, another transit-oriented development where we will have our bus services all go to. These Small Business Inclusive Ventures program through our through our Economic Development Corporation, which $1.65 million will be able to double the number of small business owners that come and get trained and learn how to grow their businesses and work together. And then finally, at Crownsville Hospital Center, the nonprofit incubator, $3 million to get that started for our local nonprofits. So I want to first introduce, we have Councilwoman Julie Hummer, and we have a train flying through. That's the speed we want our trains to go. Councilwoman Julie Hummer is here. We have Senator Dawn Guile here. We have Councilman Pete Smith here, and we have Delegate Gary Simmons here. But in addition to that, and I'm going to introduce all of them, and then they're going to come up in this order, if that's okay. We have Senator Ben Cardin. We have Senator Chris Van Hollen. We have Congressman Steny Hoyer and Congressman John Sarbanes. We do not have with us former Congressman Anthony Brown, who is now our Attorney General, who was also instrumental in doing all of these earmarks. So this team works together. They work with our team. We tell them what our priorities are, and they bring it home. So thank you. Ben Cardin, come on up and give us a few words.
So, to the county exec Pittman, let me repeat that number one more time. $16,771,500 earmarks to Anne Arundel County. Congratulations, Stuart Pittman. These are competitive funds. These are not easy to get. You got to have the right plans, but you also have to have the right political strategy. And our county exec has been right there, part of Team Maryland, to give us the opportunity to be his partner. So congratulations, Stuart. Well earned, well deserved, but this is not typical for a county to be able to get such a large amount and such a variety of funds. And to me, I got to brag a little bit about your federal team, Maryland. Chris Van Hollen, Steny Hoyer, John Sarbanes, and Anthony Brown at the time. We work together as a team. That is not typical for a congressional delegation. Senator Van Hollen and I in the Senate share all of our information on congressional earmarks. You know why? That way we can get more for the people of Maryland. If you work together, you get more done. Look at what we did here in Anne Arundel County. $16,771,500. Quite impressive as far as the numbers. So we're just proud to be part of the team. Now, County Exec Pittman mentioned a lot of the different proposals. I want to talk about two specifically. My colleagues will talk about some of the others. We could talk about any one of them because they are all, I think, extremely important to the people here in Anne Arundel County and, quite frankly, to the entire region. But I want to talk about this MARC station for one moment, if I might. This MARC station, $4 million, is going to be used to deal with, as County Exec pointed out, the parking, but also for transit development, so that you can have this community get the full advantage. We are committed to getting people out of their cars. It is important for our environment. It's important for our economy. It's important for our quality of life. So yes, we have passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is transformational, once in a generation investment in modernizing our infrastructure in this country, with a large part of those funds going to transit, because we want to have smart transportation. Then we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which was sensitive to our environment, but also recognized we needed to do more in order to deal with green transportation. Guess what? Transit is green transportation. It helps our planet, and it helps our economy, helps our public health, and it's just a better way of life. So when we had the chance to use our congressional earmarks, we were looking for programs that would complement what we were able to do with the bipartisan infrastructure bill and with the Inflation Reduction Act. And this station here at Odenton made so much sense. County Exec Pittman had a plan for us, and we were proud to be part of funding that plan. The same thing is true with the Inclusion Venture small business programs that I take particular pride in. I chair the Small Business Committee in the United States Senate, and we've done a lot here in Maryland to help our small businesses. I could talk a lot about the fact that we now have a Veterans Business Outreach Center located in Maryland, one of only 22 in the nation. That just happened during the last 2 years. So our veterans can get better services from the Small Business Administration. In Maryland today, we have 4 women's business centers. 2 years ago, we only had 1. So our federal delegation has worked hard to provide more opportunities for small businesses that have not had the same attention in the other underserved communities. Well, this Inclusion Venture small business program, which will provide $1.65 million to expand assistance to minority, women, veterans, providing educational help, mentorship, and access to capital, which is so vitally necessary for those small business owners that have been left behind in the past. Anne Arundel County is leading in this effort. The county exec had a strategy. Once again, our federal partners are proud to be your partners on this, Stuart, to make this a reality for small businesses in our community. This is exciting in every one of these programs, because the leadership in this county, and I congratulate the county council people that are here, the state legislators that are here, the leadership in this county made it welcoming for us to figure out ways that we could help you with the vision you have for the people in this county. I couldn't have done this. We couldn't have done this without the cooperation we had in our full delegation. My partner in the United States Senate is Senator Chris Van Hollen. He happens to serve on the Appropriations Committee, as Steny Hoyer does, so they write the checks. They're the ones who deliver the checks for us. John Sarbanes is one of our great environmental leaders, one of our great community leaders. He's going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite program. I'm not going to steal the thunder on it, but the Trails, Spurs, and Connectors. That's one of my favorite programs. So it really is a team effort. And Stuart, we're proud to be on your team. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was introducing Chris Van Hollen. Change the schedule. This guy delivers for the people of Maryland. I must tell you, we go over the different details of what we can do for the different communities, and Senator Van Hollen has made sure that all parts of Maryland are represented. He's done an incredible job representing the people of Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Ben. All right. Well, it's great to be here. Let me start by thanking Senator Cardin, who's kind of the captain of Team Maryland and brings us all together and serves on the Environment and Public Works Committee that does infrastructure and chairs the Small Business Committee. And this is a team effort. I just want to thank him as a great partner in the United States Senate as we move forward on these projects. Look, on the Appropriations Committee, we round up, Mr. County Executive. So this is $17 million in projects across an array of important priorities. And you sort of heard the depth and breadth of the priorities being addressed here, from public safety to recreational opportunities to infrastructure to economic development to community development. And I do want to thank the Anne Arundel County team, the County Executive, County Executive Pittman, who, as Senator Cardin said, works with the council and works with his team to set forth the priorities for the county. And that's where we sort of get our direction at the federal level. So to all of you who are part of the County Executive, the County Council in Anne Arundel County, thank you. To the members of the General Assembly here, thank you. Congratulations on a successful 90-day session. And we also work very closely, of course, with members of the General Assembly. I'm going to mention the other members of the federal delegation in a moment, but it's my assignment to talk about two of the other projects that are included in this package. You heard about Odenton, which is about halfway to Baltimore. I think it's about 30 minutes to Baltimore City, 30 minutes to Washington, D.C. Such an important hub here, and making sure that we have smart development and smart transit policies is obviously essential. Another very important transportation project is the Multimodal Transportation Center in Parole at the Westfield Annapolis Mall. We're investing $3 million there to serve existing buses and other transit coming into that hub, but also designing it in a way to have future connectivity to bike share, to car share, and to ride-hailing shares, because as we address the immediate needs of the present, we also need to make sure it can accommodate the vision for the future. And so that $3 million is going to be a very important part of that transportation hub. That will allow more people to go to work from there, go back and forth to their jobs, and of course bring more people to shop at the retail stores and provide an economic boost for that entire area. Another very important investment here is to create a center to help grow more nonprofits. And when I say grow, I mean both startup nonprofits, but also nonprofits that can expand their capacity with a little bit of training and help and nurturing. And of course, those nonprofits are essential to providing services in the county. You have the county government, you have the state government, the federal government, but we all know that nonprofits can also play an essential role in bringing services that are important to our community. And so we are investing as well in that project in terms of the nonprofit center. So those are a couple of the projects that are included in this almost $17 million. Again, you can see there are a whole variety of investments that meet all different needs within this community. And in addition to those of us in the Senate, we obviously have the top team in the House of Representatives with Steny Hoyer and John Sarbanes. And I want to emphasize something that Senator Cardin said, which is teamwork helps leverage more federal funds. Because when you share information as opposed to compete with one another, you do better for everybody. It has a multiplier effect, and that you're seeing here today in terms of the investments in Anne Arundel County. John Sarbanes, of course, works every day on a whole variety of issues here and has for a long time. Steny Hoyer has been at the forefront of efforts to bring investments to the state of Maryland, his district and other districts, and now he's going to be a very important partner in the House on the Appropriations Committee. So we're looking forward to continuing that work together on the Appropriations Committee, House and Senate, but also as Team Maryland. Let me bring up Steny Hoyer, who also knows how to deliver for the state of Maryland. Congressman Hoyer.
Thank you, Chris, very much. Well, I'm sorry I was a little bit late. As the transportation gets better by those of us in Southern Maryland can get here a little more quickly. I want to say how pleased I am to be here with Stuart Pittman. The voters of Anne Arundel County elected him, and they have re-elected Stuart Pittman. They re-elected Stuart Pittman because he's somebody that gets the job done for them, whoever they are in Anne Arundel County. Whether they're husbands and wives with families, individuals, single parents, teachers, working men and women, neighbors, Stuart Pittman gets the job done for them. And as Senator Cardin and Senator Van Hollen said, we are all so pleased to be in Anne Arundel County on the Pittman team. We call it the Maryland team, but the Maryland team is made up of constituent parts, of which Anne Arundel County is, of course, one of the most important parts. So, Stuart, thank you very, very much for your leadership. Senator, Councilwoman, delegates, thank you for your leadership and work. We are so proud of the Maryland legislature. We're so proud of our county governments who all do such a wonderful job. Now, I'm going to talk about two projects, but let me talk to the citizens about pork. We're talking about pork. Pork is a good meat to eat. It helps you grow. It helps you be healthy. It helps you feel sustained. Senator Cardin and Senator Van Hollen referred to them as earmarks. What does earmark mean? It means that somebody said we ought to spend this amount of money on that project. We now call them, a very fancy name, community project funding. The key word is community. I fought for a long time after some folks in the Congress thought that we ought to do away with community funding projects. And they did away with community funding projects. And I fought to bring them back. Why did I fight to bring them back? Because Stuart Pittman, the members of the council, members of the state senate, members of the House delegates, they're here. They see every day the needs of the people of Anne Arundel County, of the children of Anne Arundel County, of the people who drive in cars in Anne Arundel County, the people who ride our mass transit. They see those needs every day. The people in Washington don't see those needs every day unless they come from here. And the whole premise of community funding projects is that members of Congress from 435 districts and 50 states know their communities better than the people in Washington do. And those representatives, the 8 of us from Maryland in the House of Representatives, and the 2 United States Senators, 2 extraordinary United States Senators, what do? We don't make that decision. We call the Stuart Pittmans and the councilwoman and the state senator and the members of the House and say, what do you need in your area? And that's what this rounded up $17 million is all about. It's about investing not large sums of money. $17 million is a very good sum of money for any of us. Federal government, it is a small portion, very small portion of what we spend and invest in America. I have 2 projects, not large sums of money, but one deals with a diversion program, a Fresh Start program, which makes sure that we can divert people from the criminal process to the rehabilitative process, which has proven very successful. And this numbers participated doubled, and 90% were diverted from the criminal process, which we know makes people, in many respects, harder than the diversionary process, which tries to rehabilitate and give them hope and sense of a future. And the other project was not that whistle. And that's the sound, as Chris Van Hollen said, of a better environment, that mass transit. That's that sound. The other project was about $750,000 in a project that is going to rehabilitate the Ralph Bunche Community Center. Ralph Bunche, one of the great Americans in the history of our country, an African American, one of the first real leaders. I say that knowing that we're the state of Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, but who were recognized. And Ralph Bunche, of course, a great leader in the international scene as well. That community center was falling apart. It had been a segregated school in Anne Arundel County back in the days of segregation. That center is now going to be more vibrant, more welcoming, more helpful to the community. Why did we do that? Because Stuart Pittman, the council, and the senators and the delegates said we need to do this. And that's why we did it. So I'm very pleased to be here with Stuart Pittman, members of the council, member of the state senate in which I served, and which I was so happy serving in that body, and members of the House of Delegates. I never got to serve in the House of Delegates, but I know from all the delegates that I know and talk to, it's a wonderful experience, and it gives you the opportunity to do for the people that which you promised. So I'm pleased to be here with all of you. Stuart Pittman, thank you for inviting me. To my colleagues, Senator Cardin, our dean of our delegation, the senior, well, he's not the senior, but he's the senior United States Senator. I'm the senior. Senator Chris Van Hollen and John Sarbanes. John Sarbanes is an extraordinary representative of this county. When I expanded my membership, I now represent about 180,000. I talked to John about Anne Arundel County. I represent about 40, 50,000 right on the Chesapeake Bay from the South River south to Point Lookout. But he was extraordinarily helpful, and he is a very influential man. By the way, one of the great reformers of our political process in America. John Sarbanes, thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, another representative of this beautiful county, Anne Arundel, John Sarbanes.
Thanks very much, Steny. I was standing back there and I was realizing that it's a tremendous source of pride and humility for me to be part of this team, not just our federal delegation led by Senators Van Hollen and Cardin and Steny Hoyer and our entire team there, but to be part of the Pittman team here in Anne Arundel County, members of the council, members of the General Assembly delegation. This is what happens when people work together and they collaborate. It's also to emphasize something that Steny said a moment ago. It's what happens when there's a vehicle by which, there's a mechanism by which we can listen closely to the needs in the community, in this case in Anne Arundel County, and have some wherewithal, some capacity to respond to those needs with critical investments. We know that there are people on the ground here, elected leaders, who understand where these investments need to be directed, and they can get our ear and they can say, here's where it's important for the federal government to step up, and that some portion of that massive budget should find its way into our county. And the other part of the equation in making that happen is not just our capacity to respond through these community project funding opportunities, but is to trust the input that we're getting. And if you trust the local elected officials and they say this is an important priority for our county, then you know where to direct that critical investment. And that's what we've done. All the projects that you've heard about today fall into that category. There are two things that I wanted to highlight in particular. One is $2.5 million out of this $17 million that our team was able to bring to bear to support the Emergency Operations Center here in Anne Arundel County, do a complete needs assessment of what the configuration is now and what it can be to have the best coordination, the best communication, the best interoperability, not just among agencies at the county level, but between and among county agencies, state agencies, and federal agencies when it comes to responding in these emergency circumstances. I had the opportunity, again, this is where that local connection is brought to bear, to visit the existing operations center, to hear directly from people there about what the needs are and how it can be better configured going forward. And that, along with the support of our broad delegation, has led to that particular investment. The other thing that Senator Cardin mentioned a moment ago was this Trail Spurs and Connectors project. So it's $1.5 million to kind of fill in gaps, to make sure that as Anne Arundel County is expanding these trailways, they can connect to the East Coast Greenway, to the American Discovery Trail. We have tremendous resources and assets here in the state of Maryland in terms of being able to get people out into nature, as part of recreation, as part of, frankly, connecting one community to the next. But these little bits and pieces have to be knit together. Again, that's where the county, thank you, Stuart, for your team understanding where the investment can be distributed. That's where they make a huge difference. And so very pleased that our team was able to bring dollars to bear in that category as well. So let me close where I think most of us have opened up, which is to again thank County Executive Pittman and his colleagues in government here in the county for directing us to things that can really make a difference for the people in the communities of this amazing county. So, Stuart, congratulations. I'll turn it back to you.
Oh, he's going to present us a check. They're going to present us a check, and I thought it was wonderful that pork was referenced. Congressman, I love pork and all kinds of pork, bacon, whatever it is. But pork did get a bad name, and I think people will notice that none of this went as corporate welfare, like the projects that gave pork a bad name. None of it went to campaign donors. Every single thing went to nonprofits and local government that was directly delivering for people. So this is a wonderful check. Thank you. Let's get our picture taken.
Get in front of here. Everybody join us.
IRS rounds up as well.